All right, so we're diving into prospecting in 2024, but and trust me on this one, this isn't just going to be another one of those like how to get meetings rehash. We're going deep with Derek Burrell, certified Sandler sales trainer, who dropped some serious knowledge in this latest training video. We're going to break it down, give you the cheat sheet on how to avoid the most common prospecting mistakes so you can stand out and actually book those meetings you're after.
You know what's interesting about Burrell's take on this is that he really acknowledges that the landscape has changed. Like prospecting today, it's different. I mean, it's a whole different beast than it was like 10 years ago even. And he even says that we're all drowning in information and generic outreach. It doesn't work anymore.
Totally. I love how he put it. He said, like being a unicorn in a sea of horses. You can't just blend in. You have to be remarkable. And that means no more of that spray and pray. It's about being targeted and quality driven.
Precision, not volume. Which is a great segue into Burrell's 6 common prospecting mistakes. He starts with the mistake of not really personalizing your outreach. Like, you know, all those generic templates people are using, the ones that just mention random buzzwords or like mutual connections, Burrell says. Ditch them.
And I love that he doesn't just tell you what not to do. He shows you what to do instead. He gave this awesome example of an email where the sender referenced the prospect's attendance at Comic-Con, even mentioning a specific booth they had there. Talk about doing your homework, right? I mean, who wouldn't at least open that email?
That's exactly it. It's brilliant. It's not just about dropping their name in there somewhere. It's about finding that detail. You know, the one that shows you've actually gone the extra mile, that you get their world. It shows that you're not just blasting out mass emails to everyone. You're having a conversation.
All right, so mistake number 2, and honestly, I know I've been guilty of this one, misaligned call to action. Like, you know, we get so excited to try to book that meeting. We jump ahead and just ask for a time without even figuring out if they're even interested.
Yeah, you're right. Burrell cautions against that hard sell, kind of pushy approach. He says you got to test the waters first, focus on building the rapport, uncovering the need. So instead of like, are you free next Tuesday for a meeting? What? He suggests something more like, would you be open to exploring how we might be able to help with their pain point?
So much better. It's starting a conversation, not demanding a commitment right away. This actually reminds me of the Sandler sales methodology and how it focuses on upfront contracts and getting agreement throughout the whole process. Can you maybe give a quick breakdown of that for listeners who haven't heard of it?
Absolutely. So the Sandler methodology, it's really all about trust and transparency right from the very beginning. So you have this upfront contract where both sides know exactly what's going on, what their roles are, what the end goal is. It's not about being that stereotypical pushy salesperson. It's about creating a partnership between the buyer and the seller.
I love that. All right, on to mistake number 3. This is a big one, especially these days. Failure to pick up the phone.
It's kind of funny. Like, we have all this technology to connect, but honestly, sometimes the best way to reach someone is the good old-fashioned phone. Burrell's not saying to ditch email or LinkedIn, but he's really big on strategically using the phone. Even if it's just to leave a good voicemail, he sees it as like a pattern interrupt, a way to cut through all that digital noise and actually connect.
And there's some data to back that up. He mentioned a McKinsey study that found the top salespeople make 82% more calls than their lower performing counterparts.
That's huge. And think about it. Why is that? It's not just about making more dials to hit some number. It's about having real conversations, building rapport, uncovering those needs, addressing concerns, and ultimately closing more deals.
And I got to say, think about the last time you got a sales call. It's so rare. It almost makes you want to pick up just because it's so different.
Exactly. It's like you're instantly not just another email in their inbox.
You're a human.
You're a real person. And think about the impact that has. Like a good phone call. It shows a level of interest and commitment that you just can't get from a digital message.
Okay, so let's talk about mistake number 4. Not using combos. This is where Burrell gets really tactical. He's all about maximizing your impact, hitting prospects across multiple channels, and doing it all within a short time frame.
It's like creating a surround sound experience,
nice.
For your prospect. So he suggests reaching out by phone, then email, and then LinkedIn, all on the same day.
Wow.
Just to really make sure they see you.
That's a lot.
And then he follows up with variations on that over the next few days.
So it's not about sending the same message over and over. It's about using different channels to reinforce your message. Can you give us an example of what that might look like?
Sure. Let's say you find a prospect that you think would be a good fit. Day 1, you make a quick call, introduce yourself. Maybe mention something of theirs you read online that you liked. Then you follow up with an email talking about some of their pain points and how you can help. And then connect with them on LinkedIn. Maybe mention a shared connection or comment on a recent post.
So you're staying top of mind.
Exactly. Then on day 2, you might send a follow-up email with a case study that's relevant to their industry. And on day 3, you could engage with them again on LinkedIn. Maybe share an interesting article you think they'd like. It's about creating that consistent drumbeat of touch points, each one adding value and reinforcing what you can do.
That's great. I love how strategic it is. It's not just about hoping they'll see your message somewhere.
Right.
You're increasing the chances they'll actually engage.
And on their terms.
Okay, on to mistake number 5. Okay, so mistake number 5, it's all about cadence, or actually the lack of it. Burrell is a big believer in having, a consistent prospecting sequence, not just reaching out randomly every now and then.
Well, it's like with anything, right? Consistency is key. Sporadic outreach, it doesn't work.
And he gave this really cool example of a sequence in the video.
Oh, yeah, he did. He starts with that strong combo we talked about on day 1, the phone call, email, LinkedIn. But then he lays out specific actions for each day after that.
Keeping things fresh.
Right. Varying the touch points, the message.
And one of the things that stood out to me was the breakup email. It seems kind of counterintuitive, but it's actually brilliant.
It is.
And you break that down for us?
Yeah, it's like a mind game, almost. So you've reached out a few times, been thoughtful, but the prospect still hasn't responded. So you send this breakup email, basically saying, hey, I haven't heard from you, so I'm guessing you're not interested right now. I'm going to close your file, but let me know if anything changes. It is, but does it work?
More often than you'd think. It often gets people to respond. People don't like to lose things. So even if they weren't that interested, when you take something away, it can create that urgency like, oh, wait, maybe I do want that. That fear of missing out. Or they might just explain why they're not a good fit. Either way, you're not wasting time anymore.
Yeah, that's smart. I like that. So mistake number 6, this one's a little different. It's about ignoring your digital presence.
Yeah, you can't just reach out anymore. You got to attract them to you.
Yeah.
Burrell's big on building a presence on those platforms where your customers are.
And for him, that's LinkedIn.
Right. He's all about sharing content, personal, professional, showing off his expertise, his personality, building those real relationships.
But it's more than that.
Of course.
He even talked about using tools like ChatGPT.
Yep. To create content that really resonates.
To personalize messages.
Even email subject lines.
So you really stand out.
Exactly.
So it's using technology to your advantage.
Not replacing the human element, but enhancing it. And it's not just LinkedIn.
Nope. It's about that whole digital picture. Your website, social media, reviews, even your SEO.
So when someone searches for what you do,
you're the one that pops up.
It's like you're creating this pull.
Exactly.
Drawing people in with your expertise and your brand.
And a big part of that is content marketing. Burrell talked about creating valuable content, educating, informing, and attaining, so you become that thought leader.
And anyone can do that. Right. You don't need a big agency.
Right. You just have to be willing to share your knowledge.
In a way that people connect with.
And the great thing about content marketing is that it's long-term. It's not just about getting a quick win. It's an asset that can keep working for you for years.
So we've talked about a lot. Personalization, digital presence. Yeah. But I want to come back to something Burrell mentioned that I think is crucial. Having a system.
Oh, yeah.
A sales methodology that guides everything you do. He's a big Sandler guy. But I think the important thing is just having a framework.
100%. It's easy to get caught up in tactics. But without that foundation, you're going to struggle. A good methodology, whether it's Sandler, Spillerman selling, Challenger sale, or whatever works for you. It helps you understand how selling actually works.
Psychology of it.
Exactly. It helps you manage your pipeline, build those long-term relationships. It's a process that's proven. And it helps you deal with all the tough stuff that comes with sales.
So how do you choose a methodology?
Yeah.
There's so many out there.
That's the thing. There's no right answer.
Right.
You got to do your research.
Try things out.
Find what fits your personality, your industry, your goals.
Some are more aggressive.
Some are more about building relationships.
Some are about closing deals fast.
It's about finding what feels authentic to you and how you sell.
And don't be afraid to try different things.
Exactly.
What works for one person might not work for another.
The key is to have that system.
To keep you organized, focused, and motivated. So before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's bring it back to you, the listener. Think about your prospecting. Are you making any of these mistakes we talked about?
Are you really personalizing your outreach?
Are you using those multi-channel combos?
What about your digital presence?
And most importantly, do you have a system, a methodology that's guiding you?
Write down some takeaways.
Some action steps you can take right now.
Remember,
Even small changes.
make a big difference.
And we'll be back in the next part to talk about, we've covered a lot in this deep dive, from, those easy to make prospecting mistakes to Birrell's more advanced strategies. I feel like you've gotten a masterclass on personalizing outreach, becoming a multi-channel pro, and building that magnetic digital presence. I bet you've got a to-do list a mile long.
Yeah, it can feel a little overwhelming, but remember, you don't have to do everything at once. Start small. Pick one thing. What really resonated with you? What can you start doing today?
Yeah, maybe it's finally making those calls or updating your LinkedIn or even, checking out those different methodologies.
So whatever it is, write it down. Make a plan. And then take that first step. And remember, prospecting, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So be patient, be persistent, and don't let those setbacks get you down.
You got this. And if you need any help or just want to keep talking about it, we're always here on social media.
Until next time, happy selling, everybody.